Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Ask Annie. And today's topic is about blocks to telepathically communicating with your animal in spirit, so animal mediumship conversations. I'm just going to share my screen with you. So, I would like to acknowledge the animals that I've had conversations with and their parents, because their stories have changed my understanding of reality and why animals are with us. So, some of the information I'm presenting today may be new to you, but it's information that I've gained through my 12 plus years of having conversations with animals. So, they've shared a lot about their experience with passing over, coping with bereavement, energetic visits, and the phenomenon of animal soul reincarnation. So I'm happy to share the information they share with me. I think that's my duty, since they share this wisdom, to share it with the world so that everyone has a better understanding about animals, why they're here, and how they can help us. So, for those of you who haven't met me before, I'm the animal human relationship enricher. I have conversations telepathically with animals who are living or in spirit and answer their human parents' questions. It also helps deepen relationships, having conversations with animals. I also mentor animal parents and animal professionals to talk telepathically with their animals. I'm a clairsentient, a clairvoyant, and a claircognizant, which is spiritual gifts and mean that I can feel things, see things, and know things with no rational explanation. I'm also fascinated with natural healing modalities, so I've studied Reiki and clinical aromatherapy and crystal therapy, and I combine these to support well-being for animals and humans. I've just published my third book, and I speak at events and summits. And I have a podcast show called What Animals Tell Me. They tell me such fascinating stories. I just want to share them with the world. And I also interview people who work with animals in unique ways. So today's question, why can't I telepathically connect with my animal in spirit? And it's a really good question. So just some background, telepathic communication is how animals communicate with each other, whether they're domestic or wild. Now, as humans, we can learn to telepathically communicate with animals as well. I understand it's something that we can do as children, and it's something that we just seem to grow out of, but it's something that we can reactivate and have meaningful conversations with animals. So when I connect with an animal, whether they're living or in spirit, I go through a specific connection process to make sure I'm connecting with the correct soul. So it's tuning into their energy frequency. And so whether they're living or in spirit, I go through the same process. And I will just say that learning to connect telepathically does take time, and it takes a lot of practice, and it's trusting yourself. And it is tricky when you start hearing their voices, because you can kind of convince yourself that you're hearing things and it's not really real. So there are a number of blocks that can stop you from communicating, and I will talk about a few of those. Some key requirements to be able to communicate telepathically are that you know that animals have souls, and you know or are open to animal communication being possible. If you don't believe either of these concepts, then you're going to block yourself and you're not going to be able to communicate. Animals have souls, and that's how I connect with them. It's connecting with their soul frequency. So once the animal has passed away, their physical body no longer exists, but their soul does. So I tune into that soul frequency, their energy, and have the conversation with them. And that's a key part of communicating, that you know you're connecting with their soul. So when animals do communicate telepathically, they do that in a number of different ways, and it's not just verbal, but verbal is what everyone expects. But it's interesting because when they communicate it, I actually hear their voices in my head. It's not audible in my ear. And it is really weird when you first start because you hear different voices in your head. Animals have different voices just like humans do. So I hear different tones, different accents. I can tell when an animal's smiling. Sometimes they tell me hilarious stories. But it's just difficult adjusting to hearing those different voices in your head to start with. And then you get more used to it and it becomes quite normal. But in addition to that verbal communication, where you can have a two-way conversation with them, animals can also send messages as pictures. So you will just have a picture suddenly materialize in your head, or they can send you little video snippets, which also appear in your head. And they seem to be using some form of thought transference technology to do this. They haven't explained to me yet how they're doing it. I just know that I receive the messages, and this is something that we do practice in the mentorship program that I offer. And in addition to verbal messages and picture messages, animals can also send emotions and feelings, and you actually feel what they're feeling in your body, or you feel the message that they're trying to send you in your body. So all of these different facets of communication make up telepathic communication. And as I said, there can be a number of blocks to that communication. And the most common one is self-doubt. You can doubt yourself, and people around you can doubt that you can really do it. And it is a difficult concept to overcome. Like, can you really talk to an animal? Can you really hear their voices in your head? Are you hearing their voice messages accurately? So that's something that we talk about, and I do discuss this in the foundational videos as part of my mentorship program so that you're aware of what can happen and what you can do to overcome these blocks. Sometimes if I'm not sure of what the animal's really trying to say with their answer, I can ask them to answer it in a different way, or I can ask them to show me in images or videos so I can really understand what they're saying. Even just rewording their answer can help with understanding what they're really trying to say. Animals do respond to your questions very quickly, so the first thing that gets into your head will be the message from your animal. If you're sitting there for ages waiting for a message, it means that something is blocking the communication. The other key thing to consider is that you do need to be in a relaxed brainwave state to be able to tune into the animal and to send and receive messages. And again, I do exercises in the mentorship program to help people get into that relaxed state. So you don't want to be all stressed, worrying about what you need to do for the rest of the day or worrying about what you're going to do tomorrow, because that is going to interfere with messages coming through. So I sit somewhere where it's quiet, there's no noise at all, so I can really focus on hearing the animal's voice. Sometimes they do have very soft voices, so I have to ask them to speak louder so that I can actually hear them clearly and know what they're telling me. Now, sometimes things will happen to disrupt that conversation. So you might have a noisy car driving past or an aeroplane flying overhead that disrupts your train of thought. And so if that happens, I just go back and start my connection process again so that I'm sure I'm really connected to the animal and hearing their answers correctly. So if you'd like to learn telepathic communication and be able to talk with your own animals, living or in spirit, I do offer my telepathic animal communication program. And I work with you one-on-one in the mentorship sessions with 2 living domestic animals, either yours or mine. And we work through a number of gradually increasingly complex activities to practice the different facets of telepathic communication that I've spoken about, so that you are confident and comfortable talking with animals who are living and in spirit. We do cover mediumship conversations in mentorships sessions 5 and 6. And once you've mastered talking with your own animals or mine, then you'll be able to talk to any animal anywhere. So whether they're in a zoo or a sanctuary, in the wild, a friend's animal, once you've mastered telepathic communication, it's how animals talk to each other, and you'll be able to talk to them. So if you're interested in finding out more information about the program, please email me at chintuitive@bigpond.com. I'm happy to answer any questions and email you the PDF about the program, which explains it in more detail. You can also deepen conversations with your animals through listening to my podcast, which is available on podcast platforms, and it's free. I do offer masterclasses free online for animal parents every month, looking at different aspects of being an animal parent, including animal mediumship conversations, preparing to say goodbye to an animal, and also about animal communication. I advertise these in my private Facebook group, which you're welcome to join. I also advertise on social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And I have an Animal Tales newsletter, which you're also welcome to subscribe to. With my Facebook group, Consciously Understanding Your Animals, this is a community of animal parents who understand that their animals have souls. We share our animal stories, and I advise of upcoming events, including the masterclasses, so you're welcome to join. You're watching this on my YouTube channel at the moment. You're welcome to subscribe to the YouTube and watch more of the episodes of Ask Annie. I've also got a series, Soulful Conversations Reincarnation series, where I share some of the conversations I've had with animals as they embark on their reincarnation journey. So you're welcome to watch those as well. My most recent book, Crossing the Bridge to Animal Consciousness, I wrote particularly to support bereaved animal parents. So explaining what happens when our animals pass away, how to cope with bereavement, energetic visits from our animals in spirit, and then lots of real life stories of the phenomenon of animal soul reincarnation, which I knew nothing about till my cat on the front cover let me experience it. And now I've been able to help lots of families reunite with their animal soul in a new body. Just incredible. On my website, which is www.cosmicheartintuitive.com.au, I have 4 free guides for animal parents, which you're welcome to download. But the most important thing I can tell you is to talk with your animals every day. They understand everything you say verbally, so even if you can't speak with them telepathically, they will understand what you're saying, and they love hearing your voice, and they love it when you know they understand. So please tell them every day that you love them and you're grateful they're with you. They'll love you saying that to them. If you do have any questions after watching this video, please put them in the comments below the video or email me at chintuitive.com.au and I'll respond to your email. So thank you so much for joining me for this episode. Please come back to the YouTube station because I will be loading more Ask Annie episodes. I've also been loading more of the Soulful Conversation Reincarnation series videos. So I'd recommend that you watch those as well. So thank you.